You.
What's poppin'?
OS in the building.
So we got this single coming, Mechanic Shop. And that's what we doing this for, right? We're gonna promote the single. We're gonna give y'all some news, give y'all some conversation, whatever. We got my son Marcus, King Charisma in the back. He gonna be the third wing in this shit. And we just gonna chill. We gonna talk about the shit we talk about. I think the first thing though that we gotta get out the way before we do any of that is we're gonna answer the main question that we know everybody wants to fucking know. What the fuck took so long to do Lost in Space, right? Before I let Crip talk, what year did My Brother's Keeper come out? 14?
2011.
2012.
Oh, we all wrong. Somebody got me right.
I believe it's either 11 or 12. I'm going to say 12.
I think it's 11 because it came out like near your birthday, right? Like that week, I think.
July? End of July?
Yeah, it could still be any year.
No,
yeah.
Either way,
late August.
Either 11 or 12. It
had been a minute, yeah. So that actually popped off that album.
Yeah.
That did better than we imagined. Well, we was touring at that point.
A little bit,
right?
Yeah.
That was towards
like
the end of the tour.
The tail end of it.
The tail end of the tour, right. That album motivated us a lot, so we started to work pretty much right after that. We toured or whatever, we went back into the lab, and that's when we was making announcements and recording and all that shit. And then we had to come into a little bit of a halt. And that's what we want to talk about a little bit. Because it ain't just... both of us had some situations. And but we're going to get to that. I'm going to let Crip take over on that. But just so we could explain how this went, so you see where we at now.
Yeah, so MBK came out, whether it was 11 or 12, shortly after that, y'all who know me and rock with OS, I got sick in January 13. Yeah, it was 2013.
2013.
Yeah, right at the end of January, I was diagnosed. So basically, for that 10 or 11 months in there, I did all my treatment, did all my radiation, all that, you know what I mean? So right then and there, like, we just put the brakes on everything. I wasn't touring, I wasn't doing anything, but just trying to get better and, handle my family situation. So we've always recorded and always had joints, in the pocket. Mm-hmm. I mean, we could probably go into Scott's studio now and pull up a hard drive of joints that we've never released, really. You know what I mean?
We still got some
We've
shit
always had
yeah.
music. We've always had music popping and recording, and we always got producers that we work with.
I never weren't recording.
Always on a dial up. You know what I mean? Like, yo, send a beat, da 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 da. But kind of lost, like, I'm not gonna say interest because I've always loved the music, you know what I mean? But life just took over a little bit, and after I was done being sick, we released the Pharaoh shit.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And Death Reborn.
And I remember with the Pharaoh shit, you were limited.
Yeah,
you were limited on that Pharaoh run.
Yeah, I was just getting better, getting back in the swing of things. Right. You know what I mean? And
So kind of like musically. It makes sense it was 2011-12 because you got sick after that one. So that timeline pans out. I think the way we looked at it is while we were dealing with things, I was dealing with things, life happens. We working men. So we got bills to pay. So that always has to come first. But we try to do what we can. But I think the Pharaoh shit kind of came at the right time because it was like we still out. While we're dealing with personal things, we still got this big machine of the Pharaohs that's kind of like not holding us off, but that's kind of how we looked at it. Like, look, we're still out there. We're still in the world, and we're still...
Your presence is still felt.
It's still felt because we're still doing stuff, and, like, that'll hold us off. And how many... We did a few albums. How many Pharaoh joints? We did 2?
It was 2 in the same year.
Yeah.
Right, so, so, I mean, that held us off. There was nothing after that?
Nah.
It's just them 2 of the last, right?
Yeah.
So, we had all that, and then... I mean, we almost had a whole album. If you really think, if you go by what we put out in the EPs, and you think about the stuff we still got,
the singles,
rounds,
all that
other stuff we got, we was working hard, and that's why we was promoting because we had all intentions to get to it. You know what I mean? And the one thing I want to talk about that I think is fucking hilarious is we put out EPs, right? So when we put out Lost Angels, right? We put that out 2 years ago or
It's the
something.
same question.
Yeah, we get the same question. Like, I always tell Crip, be like, because Crip was off the internet too.
Yeah.
Because he had to, we gotta focus. Like, he was dealing with his things. It was better to not be distracted with whatever he was dealing with in life, right? But the funny shit is, he'll be like, how people were receiving it, and I'm like, yeah, they love it, but all they fucking keep saying is like, but where's Lost in Space? Where's Lost in Space? And I remember telling somebody like, yo, it's just literally a title.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Well, you know how it is.
We just put out 4 songs, another 4 songs.
Everybody got, I guess nowadays, everybody has that like short attention span. So like, you could drop a joint on Monday. By the following Monday, they're like, all right, what's next?
Yeah. Like we put something out the other day, just a snippet, and somebody in the comment was like, so what's up with the shows? I'm like, yo, you gotta let us finish the project. Can't do no shows yet, but I get it. And what I do like is what I did. The more I thought about it, and when they ask about, well, where's this? But what about this? Even if I do a solo thing, it's like, where's Crip? Where's this? There's always a question because they always just want us, and they want this Lost in Space. We're like, we have to do it, right? But I do realize that, how you're saying like people have short attention span or whatever, but it proves that our fan base don't really live like that.
Yeah.
Because they're still like, but where's Lost? They want this one piece more than they want any fuck. They don't want the fast shit. They're
Right.
like, give us the whole fucking thing. Take that shit away and just give us the whole thing. That's how I take it. So I'm like, so we still, a lot of our fans are our age.
I know you said
between 35, whatever.
I know you said it's just the title. Do you think literally the term space being in the title is what makes people like? Do you think it's like a marketability thing that like it catches the ear?
I think it is that, but I also think that it kind of like it kind of tells the story that we're going through a little bit. We're we're telling you we're lost. We can't find us. Like, we kind of like disappeared, so.
Yeah. Okay.